Tony Abbatine from Frozen Ropes, and welcome to our Little League Relations video. One of the things that we're trying to do more of is educate and get Little Leagues to understand a little bit more about what we do and how we can be a resource. Little League is the greatest institution ever, right? All of us have such fond memories of playing on District All-Stars and the friends that we've made in Little League. And what we're seeing is a enrollment issue at times. Not as many people are playing baseball or softball anymore. A lot of reasons for it. We can blame lacrosse, we can blame soccer, we can blame the age of phones and iPhones and whatnot. But one of the things that our Little League partnership hopes to address is improving the quality of instruction to the coaches and at the same time improving the quality of play. Now, how do you do that? I think the one thing that we're trying to suggest to Little Leagues, it's not just about their all-star team. So much time and energy and quite frankly money is spent on the 2% of the league. In our opinion, more time should be spent at the T-ball level, at the youth level, because we seem to be losing both at the travel and overall numbers when they're 10 or 11 years old. You see the big drop-off in Little League that way also. So spending more time and getting good information down to the coaches and the players at a younger age, we think makes sense. Some of the suggestions, and this is really where we think that we can help, we need to put a clock in the game of baseball. As crazy as that sounds, we are boring the you-know-what out of parents and even players at the youth level. Why not put a clock in between pitches or a 30-second clock between innings just to see if we can move speed of play? And that's the big issue in baseball. You look at soccer, lacrosse, the other amateur sports, the tempo of the game is so much more appealing to the 7, 8, 9-year-old. Traditional baseball, as much as we all baseball purists love it, it is a game that requires a lot of years of appreciation. The other suggestion is we need to take T-ball out of the equation. Putting a ball on a stick and telling kids to swing and run is not, in our opinion, the best way to develop hitting, because hitting is all about timing and visual skills, and it's also very boring. We need to make the bases and the diamond at the 5, 6, 7, 8-year level even smaller. Play 5-on-5. Look no further than soccer and lacrosse, where they play on small-sided fields at the younger level. Let's make the game smaller and quicker, and instead of putting a ball on a tee, let's see if we can introduce movement and actually throwing at a very early age. Practice organization, so vital to the young coaches. And this gets back to one coach and one volunteer helper. How do we make it so that the Little League coaches have at least some references, some tools, some things to do, so when they're all by themselves with 10, 8-year-olds, they have speed of play in practice, and those players are leaving with a sense of, I've practiced, I've worked on my fundamental skills, and I've actually improved. Good. We're back talking to Little Leagues. Again, how do we improve the quality of coaching? How do we improve the quality of play? And how does Frozen Ropes fit into better developing players? Over the last really 20 years in all parts of the country and certainly now in the Northeast, being able to provide interactive coaching seminars. And let me define that. And with no disrespect to the high school coaches that come in for a 2-hour clinic that really doesn't address the problems of how to deal with 7, 8, 9-year-olds or how to have a practice where you've got one parent that doesn't have a coaching staff. We also hear, and this is certainly no disrespect to the Positive Coaching Alliance, right, where it's about fun and sportsmanship and feel good, and we get that too. But quite frankly, you know how to get kids to feel good about themselves and enjoy playing baseball? Teach them how to hit, right? And you can have the feel good sportsmanship and the fun factor which is involved, but how about teaching the fundamentals of the game? That's, I think, one of the reasons why we're losing so many players. Hitting is difficult to do. Throwing a ball over a 17-inch piece of rubber, the home plate, is a difficult thing to do. So I think as much as sportsmanship and tone of voice and being good role models is important for the Little League coach, I think if we arm them with a little bit more tools that will provide better hitting, throwing, and fielding skills to the players, I think that's what we're really looking to do. And this gets back to many of the Little Leagues have asked us to come in and do these interactive player skill camps. Whether you come to your nearest frozen ropes, or you come to Chester, New York, where our national training center is, or we bring some of our full-time certified trainers in to teach hitting, throwing, fielding, softball pitching, baseball pitching during the off season and preseason, that makes sense too. But it only works if your coaches are out there interacting and learning. And really gets back to, if we're going to have an effect and any kind of positive influence on the league, it's about teaching the teachers. Because at some point, that Little League coach will be by himself or herself. What do you do then? Can they identify some of the red flags in a throwing delivery? Or can they look at a little 9-year-old and see all these things that are going on in their setup that is going to make it difficult to hit? So the teaching of the teachers is crucial. And we can do that in the coaching seminars, where we ask the coaches actually to bring their gloves and learn how to demonstrate. Demonstrate is so important. We live in a generation of children where they're just kind of blah, blah, blah by the time they get away from their parents and even school. So the high-end Little League coach has to be a better demonstrator and get them to engage a little bit more. So the interactive coaching seminars that we're providing, the player skills camp, where we really want the coaches and even the parents to be part of the process, and even the on-site clinics that we do during the season, is a great refresher course. Little League baseball and softball is the greatest institution around, and we have the battle now with travel. You've got travel organizations that are telling, well, don't play Little League anymore because Little League isn't good anymore. It's recreational and you need to be more serious. That's not true. Travel ball and Little Leagues can survive. Actually, they should be cooperating with each other. We would have more people continuing to play baseball and softball if we didn't have this conflict and this recruiting that goes on, where travel coaches are saying don't play and the Little League coaches are saying, well, you can't play until somewhat later on. So this isn't about travel baseball. Travel baseball is here to stay. As much as the Little Leagues would love to not have to deal with the recruiting and losing players in the spring, the key is, for each league, in our opinion, is to sit down with the different travel organizations and work together and understand that from a scheduling standpoint, this is when Little League should be the priority. And Little League should be the priority in the springtime. It should be the priority later in early summer. Let travel ball take its place in the summertime or possibly in the fall. But to deny or think that you're going to keep travel ball out of Little Leagues, it doesn't make any sense. And there are some travel organizations that want to cooperate and not want to compete. You look at the softball component. We can tell you that a lot of our softball seminars for the coaches, we got to treat the young ladies as important as the little boys, okay? Giving them and getting them an opportunity to throw these 12-inch big softballs or even the 10-inch. We've got a big problem. It's epidemic around the country. Young girls have problems throwing. The classic, she throws like a girl. That has nothing to do with the young lady. That's because we give them this 10-inch ball when they're 10 years old and ask them to be able to have fundamental throwing skills. So if we want to continue to keep enrollment up in Little Leagues, the one way we think we can do it, improve the level of instruction at the youth level. Yes, you have to play T-ball, but there has to be a more effective way in keeping practice moving, right? To make speed of play in practice a priority. But you can't do that by just simply handing someone a whistle, or they've passed the background check, which has to be done in Little League, and then hope and pray that they know how to run a practice, right? Look at our soccer and lacrosse and all the other sports. You need to be certified to be doing that. And unfortunately, Little League is making progress to an extent, but it hasn't kept up with some of the other sports where the technical training, the fundamental skill work becomes the priority. And we think our Little League partnership program at least addresses that. Right? There is no substitute to go out and have a catch with your mom or dad in the backyard, and repetition and finding time to do things with your son or daughter makes sense. But at least from a Little League standpoint, what can you do this year to give your coaches more things to do, more cookies as we call them, more teaching cues to get them better prepared so that the players are getting better, So they want to continue to play the greatest game ever, which is baseball and softball through Little League. Thank you for your time.